In the winter of 1861, Nikolai Chernyshevsky sat quietly in a St. Petersburg apartment, drafting essays that would never carry his name. He was not a revolutionary on horseback or a fiery speaker in the streets. He was a man of restraint, intellect, and caution, deeply aware of power yet unwilling to seize it directly. Others around him would become icons of force and defiance, men remembered for their brutality or charisma. Chernyshevsky would be remembered, if at all, as a background influence, a thinker whose ideas shaped movements he never led. He survived by staying agreeable, by being useful, by never appearing threatening. History is full of men like him. Men who adapted, endured, and disappeared into the margins. Not weak in the childish sense of the word, but misaligned with a world that rewarded dominance and punished hesitation. The modern term beta male tries to capture this archetype, but it does so clumsily. Online, it has become an insult, a shorthand for sexual failure or social irrelevance. That framing is lazy and intellectually dishonest. The psychology of the beta male is not about inferiority. It is about adaptation. It is about what happens when a man learns early, and repeatedly, that safety comes from compliance, that belonging is earned through usefulness, and that asserting himself risks rejection, punishment, or abandonment. From an evolutionary standpoint, human males did not evolve as a single dominant type. Hierarchies always required stabilizers. Not every man could be the aggressive risk-taker without the group collapsing. Some men evolved toward vigilance, cooperation, and de-escalation. These traits were not flaws. They kept tribes functioning. The problem arises when these traits become rigid identities rather than flexible strategies. When cooperation turns into self-erasure. When de-escalation becomes chronic avoidance. When vigilance becomes anxiety. Social conditioning accelerates this shift. Many beta males are shaped in childhood environments where conflict was dangerous or unpredictable. Homes where anger led to chaos, violence, withdrawal, or humiliation. In such environments, a child learns that being agreeable is not just polite, it is survival. He becomes emotionally intelligent too early, reading moods, anticipating reactions, suppressing his own impulses to keep the peace. Over time, this becomes internalized as personality rather than strategy. He grows into a man who feels guilty for having needs, ashamed for having desires, and anxious when asserting boundaries. Parenting styles play a critical role here. Overprotective or emotionally inconsistent parenting often produces men who doubt their internal authority. They were either shielded from consequences or punished unpredictably. In both cases, the lesson is the same. Do not trust your instincts. Seek permission. Wait to be chosen. Add to this modern education systems that reward obedience, compliance, and quiet productivity over initiative and confrontation, and you get men who are well-behaved but internally fragmented. They know how to function, but not how to lead themselves. Cultural narratives around masculinity worsen the fracture. Men are told simultaneously to be sensitive and assertive, emotionally open and unshakable, supportive and dominant. The beta male often internalizes the first half of these messages while suppressing the second. He becomes safe, reliable, and emotionally available, yet quietly resentful that these traits rarely translate into respect, desire, or authority. This resentment is rarely expressed outwardly. It curdles inward, becoming self-contempt or passive anger. Fear of conflict sits at the core of the beta male mindset. Conflict represents the risk of exposure. If he asserts himself and is rejected, it confirms his deepest fear, that his value is conditional. So he preemptively avoids confrontation, reframes his silence as kindness, and mistakes endurance for maturity. People-pleasing becomes a moral identity rather than a coping mechanism. He tells himself he is easygoing, but what he really is afraid to be seen clearly. Emotional suppression follows naturally. The beta male often feels deeply, but expresses selectively. Anger is swallowed. Desire is diluted. Ambition is softened into acceptable goals. Over time, this suppression disconnects him from his own internal compass. He no longer knows what he wants, only what is expected of him. External validation replaces internal alignment. praise becomes oxygen. Rejection feels like annihilation. Modern society reinforces this dynamic in subtle ways. Compliance is rewarded with stability. Assertiveness is often labeled aggression unless it comes packaged with status. Men who challenge norms without power are punished socially, professionally, and romantically. So many men learn to wait. To be agreeable until they are chosen. The tragedy is that being agreeable rarely inspires choice. It inspires convenience. In relationships, this manifests as self-abandonment. The beta male gives more than he asks for. He listens more than he speaks. He adapts faster than he demands. Initially, this can feel like intimacy. Over time, it becomes imbalance. Desire erodes when one partner consistently disappears. Attraction requires polarity, not sacrifice without spine. The beta male often mistakes emotional labor for intimacy and consistency for passion. When rejection comes, it feels confusing and unfair because he followed the rules he was taught. In the workplace, beta males are often indispensable and invisible. They keep systems running while others take credit. They avoid office politics but suffer from them anyway. Promotions go to louder men, not necessarily better ones. This reinforces the belief that effort alone is insufficient, yet confrontation feels too costly. So resentment deepens, ambition retreats, and potential calcifies into quiet competence. Internally, the emotional life of the beta male is marked by chronic tension. He is rarely at peace, because peace requires congruence. He senses that he is living below his capacity but cannot articulate why. He feels anger but cannot justify it. He desires more but fears becoming someone he has learned to judge. This creates a split identity, the man he is and the man he never allowed himself to become. So is the beta male weak? No. Weakness implies lack. The beta male is not lacking strength, he is withholding it. He is not incapable of assertiveness, he has been conditioned to associate it with danger. The real issue is misalignment. Traits that should be situational have become permanent. Adaptations have hardened into identity. Understanding this is uncomfortable because it removes the comfort of victimhood without offering cheap empowerment. It does not say the world is fair. It does not say dominance is virtuous. It says something harder. That many men are living lives designed to keep them safe rather than whole. That likability has replaced authenticity. That survival strategies from childhood are being mistaken for character. The beta male is not an insult. It is a mirror. And like most mirrors, it only becomes useful when you stop arguing with the reflection. You have to strip away the fantasy that becoming something else is the solution. The beta male does not overcome himself by imitating dominance or adopting an artificial persona. That only adds another layer of suppression. The real shift happens when a man stops organizing his life around safety and starts organizing it around truth. The first obstacle is honesty. Most beta males do not lack courage, they lack permission. They have internalized the idea that wanting more makes them selfish, aggressive, or ungrateful. So the work begins with reclaiming desire without justification. What do you want when no one is watching, when no one needs anything from you, when approval is not on the table? Until a man can answer that question without apologizing to himself, nothing changes. Assertiveness does not begin with behavior, it begins with clarity. Conflict avoidance must be confronted next, not dramatically, but deliberately. The beta male often imagines conflict as catastrophic because earlier experiences taught him that disagreement led to loss of love or safety. As an adult, this belief is outdated, but the nervous system has not caught up. Overcoming this requires exposure, not theory. Small acts of disagreement, small boundaries, small refusals. Each one retrains the body to understand that discomfort is survivable. Confidence is not built through affirmations, it is built through evidence. Another critical shift is learning to tolerate disapproval. The beta male is addicted to being understood. He explains himself excessively, softens his language, anticipates objections before they are raised. This behavior feels considerate, but it is rooted in fear. The moment a man allows himself to be misunderstood without rushing to correct it, something changes internally. His self-concept stops being outsourced. He begins to experience authority, not over others, but over his own emotional center. Emotional suppression must also be reversed, selectively and consciously. This does not mean emotional dumping or performative vulnerability. It means allowing anger to exist without immediately neutralizing it, allowing attraction to be felt without disguising it as friendliness, allowing ambition to surface without moralizing it away. Many beta males are emotionally intense people who have been living on a restricted bandwidth. Expanding that range brings energy back into the body. Flatness is not calm, it is containment. In relationships, overcoming the beta pattern means abandoning covert contracts. Giving in the hope of being chosen is manipulation disguised as kindness. Genuine connection requires risk. Saying what you want, naming dissatisfaction early, and allowing the relationship to end if alignment is not there. This feels brutal to someone conditioned to equate love with endurance, but attraction cannot grow where self-respect is absent. Being desired requires being distinct, not endlessly accommodating. In work and creative life, the shift is similar. Stop waiting to be noticed. Visibility is uncomfortable, but invisibility is corrosive. Speak before you are ready. Claim credit without theatrics. Disagree without hostility. The beta male often believes that excellence will speak for itself. It rarely does. Competence without presence is easy to ignore. The deepest transformation happens when a man reframes his past adaptations with respect instead of contempt. The traits that made him agreeable once kept him safe. They were intelligent responses to real conditions. But safety is not the same as fulfillment. Gratitude for survival does not require loyalty to limitation. Growth begins when a man honors who he was while refusing to be ruled by outdated defenses. Overcoming the beta male pattern is not about becoming dominant, louder, or colder. It is about integration. Strength paired with empathy. Boundaries paired with openness. Desire paired with accountability. The goal is not to be unthreatening or intimidating, but real. When a man stops trying to be chosen and starts choosing himself, he does not become something else. He becomes coherent. And coherence is what people respond to, whether they admit it or not.